The success of the Fort Worth Stockyards is largely due to the passion and perseverance of 5 men: Holt Hickman, Don Jury, Steve Murrin, Billy Minnick, and Hub Baker. Although different paths brought them to the Fort Worth Stockyards National Historic District, their love of livestock and the Western way of life is the common thread. As a youth, Holt Hickman worked the ranches. When he wasn't in school, he made frequent trips with his father to the stockyards to buy and sell cattle. He remembers thousands of head of cattle in the pens, the smells, the sounds, the excitement of it. After graduating from SMU, Hickman joined his father's company, Fort Worth Battery and Automotive. He and his wife, Jo, had 2 children, Brenda and Brad, and for the next 30 years, the stockyards would be the last thing on his mind. He was too busy running his many businesses, including auto air conditioning, cellular phones, and real estate. In the 1980s, Hickman's interest in the stockyards would be rekindled as he began purchasing property in the historic North Side District. In 1988, Mr. Hickman partnered with Don Jury and Steve Murrin to reopen the legendary Billy Bob's Texas, and the rest, as they say, was history. With their deep love of Fort Worth as a driving force, they have brought the stockyards back to life. Holt Hickman's numerous accolades include Outstanding Business Executive from the Fort Worth Business Hall of Fame and induction into the Texas Trail of Fame. Mr. Hickman said, "I am honored to be inducted into the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. It has been my privilege to work with Steve, Don, Billy, and Hub in preserving and educating the world about the legacy of the Fort Worth Stockyards National Historic District." Fellow Western enthusiasts Steve Murrin and Billy Minnick grew up in Fort Worth and attended high school together. Murrin had an early interest in the stockyards and began acquiring real estate along Exchange in the 1970s. He initially ran the rodeo at Northside Coliseum and has been called one of the most loyal entrepreneurs in the stockyards. A colorful cowboy, Murrin has been named one of the most interesting men in Fort Worth. This former Fort Worth City Councilman is known to many as the unofficial mayor of the stockyards. Today, Murrin and his wife, Deshelle, live on a ranch that has been in his family since the 1930s. Steve has 3 children. Among his many accolades, Murrin was Charles Goodnight Award recipient. As a 3rd-generation Fort Worthian, he is one of the driving forces behind the meticulous preservation of the stockyards. Billy Minnick took to the Western way of life early on. As a high school and college rodeo champion, Minick honed his bull riding skills and eventually qualified for the National Finals Rodeo. In 1968, Minick purchased the Harry Knight Rodeo Company from Mr. Knight and Gene Autry. As a rodeo producer, Minick was known for big rodeos with huge entertainment. In 1981, he began producing the bull riding at the newly reopened Billy Bob's Texas. A few months later, he became the club's general manager and would remain so until 1986. In 1988, Minick was brought on board by Hickman, Murrin, and Jury to become the club's COO. Minick and his wife Pam have worked side by side at Billy Bob's for 22 years. He has 4 children and 5 grandchildren. Minick's numerous achievements include Ben Johnson Memorial Award, Charles Goodnight Award, and Darrell K. Royal Patron Award. Don Jury grew up on a farm in Iowa. His relationships with the stockyard began in 1950 at the age of 8 when he visited the area with his parents after relocating to Texas. Shortly after graduating from Texas Wesleyan, Jury acted as an outside auditor during the closing of the Swift and Company plant. As CFO of Justin Industries, he frequented the stockyard, showing visitors its Western heritage. In 1983, Jury became an associate of Billy Bob Barnett and joined the team attempting to revitalize the Stockyards. With the departure of Barnett and closure of Billy Bob's Texas in January of 1988, Jury, along with Steve Murrin, worked diligently to secure funding to reopen the club. Thus began the partnership with Hickman and later Minick. Outside the Stockyards, Jury has numerous other business ventures, including over 80 Dairy Queens, bank waste recycling companies, and real estate developments. He's been married to his wife, Jo, for 46 years, and they spend their free time at their ranch with their 3 children and grandchildren. Hub Baker is proud to be a native Texan. He grew up on the family farm and ranch near Brenham in the heart of Burleson County. His parents instilled in their only son the will to never give up and that your word is your bond. Hub attended numerous universities, but his favorite was Texas A&M University. Before making the move to Fort Worth, Hub produced amateur rodeos in Snook, Texas. In 1981, his longtime friend Billy Bob Barnett shared his plan for the Fort Worth Stockyards development, and he wanted Hub to join him in that venture. Hub oversaw the souvenir gift shop when Billy Bob's first opened. In 1992, the partnership of Hickman, Jury, Murrin, Minick, and Baker coordinated with the city of Fort Worth on how to continue the legacy of the Cowtown Coliseum. Hub Baker became the executive director of the Coliseum and began producing the most successful weekly rodeo in the world, as well as summer and holiday performances of Pawnee Bill's Wild West shows. Baker is very involved in the Fort Worth community. He serves as the president of the Cowboy Heritage Association of Fort Worth. He is a patron for the Red Steagall Cowboy Gathering, vice president of the Stockyards Business Association, and on the board of directors for the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame. Hub and Martha have celebrated 43 years of marriage that has blessed them with 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Great men of the past looked out on the Stockyards with visions of the future, and today the legacy continues. With guidance from our past and hope for our future, these 5 men have restored our Western heritage. Under their tutelage, the Stockyards have experienced a grand rebirth. Billy Bob's Texas has been named the Country Music Club of the Year 11 times, and the Stockyards area received the Pedestal Award for being the #1 historic preservation project in Tarrant County. Please join us in honoring Holt Hickman, Don Jury, Steve Murrin, Billy Minnick, and Hub Baker, 2011 Rick Smith Spirit of Texas Award recipients.